Coming up in this video, the easy way to play blues solos all across the neck.
So I guess if you clicked on this video, you want to learn the blues. But I need to be honest with you, I can't possibly teach you the whole of the blues in a short YouTube video, but what I can give you is this. A super simple blues scale shape you can use all over the neck to play great blues solos in 99% of real life situations. We'll start with a slow minor blues, and then later on a more upbeat major style. Now, don't be fooled into thinking that because what I'm about to show you is simple, it's only for beginners. This is a real deal, authentic method that's behind many legendary solos throughout history. And to start, we need just 4 notes. To begin, we need to create what I call the primary pentatonic box, which looks like this. So we're in the key of A minor here, and the notes we want are 5 and 7 on the D string, and 5 and 7 on the G string. So these 4 notes are G, A, C and D. And this little box should be considered your home base for blues playing and immediately allows you to start creating riffs. Now later on, we'll see how you can take these riffs all across the neck. Now anyone who's seen my video on the A minor pentatonic shape will already recognise this box, and that's because the blues scale is simply the pentatonic with one extra special note added, which we'll look at shortly. But for now, I just want to focus specifically on how we use these pentatonic notes to get a real bluesy feel. The first thing we need to zone in on is the root note, which is this note here. This A at the 7th fret of the D string, and many of your blues phrases will resolve back to this note. Now the first way we can resolve to it is simply by coming from the G note below, like this. So you can either play both notes, or hammer onto it, or slide back into the root. Now the second way we can resolve to the root is coming from the note above, which is this C, the minor 3rd at the 5th fret of the G string. But here's where the blues flavour really kicks in. With this note we want to make a small quarter step bend. So we're not aiming for another note, just pushing it slightly sharp. You want the unbent note to sound first, and then bend up a little, just as you're about to resolve to the root. Now just with these few ideas, we can already create bluesy phrases like this. Then, back to our little box. This 4th note, the D at the 7th fret on the G string, we can either make a full bend up, or a half note bend. But I'll talk more about this in a moment. So now let me play a solo over an A minor blues using just these 4 notes and see how already we have a huge amount of music at our fingertips. Now we're going to add 2 more notes to this shape to complete the full blues scale. Firstly, let's take our 4 note box and then add to it this E at the 9th fret on the G string. Now a great way to play this is to slide up to it. Sliding back down from it also works great. Now, with this extra note added, we now have the full 5-note A minor pentatonic scale shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I said earlier that the blues scale is just the pentatonic with 1 extra note, so let's go ahead and add that, possibly the most important note here, the blue note. So the blue note is here, this E flat. Now this is a flat 5, a chromatic note in between 2 pentatonic notes. And as soon as we bring in this note, the blues flavour goes up to a whole new level. So as a general rule, you don't want to linger too long on this blue note, and one great way to play it is to slide off it back to the D below like this. So it's like we're reaching out to this blue note and then returning home to our 4-note box. So these 6 notes together make up the full blues scale, not the Fisher-Price beginner version. This is the full, complete, whole actual blues scale right here. Now I find the best way to finger this pattern as a scale is like this: 1, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3. 1, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3. Now in practice, you'll often be slipping over to the blue note with your 3rd finger like this from the fret below. But in any case, it's generally wise to keep the fingering so that the 3rd finger covers this note at the 7th fret on the G string, as this is the strongest finger for bending. So earlier on I mentioned that we could bend this D at the 7th fret here, either up half a step or up a full step. So now you can see that when you're making these bends, the notes you're aiming for are either of these 2 notes at the 2 frets above. Then if you make a full bend up and let it come down slowly, you'll find that blue note in there somewhere along the way as well. So now I'll solo again using this full blues scale and hear how this blues flavour is really coming to life. So now we've got the scale down, let's start moving it around the neck. Let's start by playing it lower, and we can play that same 4-note primary pentatonic box starting here at the 3rd fret on the low E. So we've got G, A, C and D. And then once again, the 2 frets above, the blue note, E flat and E to complete the blues scale. Now, any licks we played in that first position, we can play in just the same way, but down here. Now we've learned the scale in 2 positions, we need a way to fluidly move between them. When I start in the lower position, and land on the final note with my 3rd finger like this, you'll see this leaves me in the perfect place to move seamlessly into the next position of the scale, which starts at the 5th fret of the D string. So I can play the lower position here, and then straight into that middle position we learned earlier. Now, where these 2 positions meet, you'll see we formed a further little box, these 4 notes here. 5 and 7 on the A, and 5 and 7 on the D, and this is what I call the secondary pentatonic box. Our blue note also falls just within this box. Now, by playing a lick in this secondary box, we can link up licks from the 2 different positions we've looked at. For example, this low position lick, secondary box lick, same lick in the middle position. I've already covered this in more detail in my previous pentatonic video, so do watch that if this is moving a bit fast for you. But now let's hear another solo. I'll start down low and then move up to the middle of the guitar. Now let's look at taking this higher up the neck of the guitar. So back to the middle position on the D and G strings. And let's look at how we transition up higher to the B and high E strings. Now this time, just because of the way the guitar is tuned, we need to be mindful that we need to shift up 1 fret when we transition over to the B string. So it's just going to look like this. The shape we've been looking at, 1, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, up to here, and now we're ready to transition, but starting from the 8th fret on the B string. Play that exact same shape. So once again, it's G, A, C, D, E flat, our blue note, and then up to the E. The exact same blues scale pattern, but on the top 2 strings. Now, because we're in a higher register, playing 2 notes at once can sound great. For example, this E at the 9th fret of the G string, together with this G at the 8th fret on the B, slide into those. They sound great together, and because they fall right at the point where these 2 positions beat, we can play these 2 together, and from there we can easily choose to go either up or down. So here's all 3 positions we've looked at together. So all together slowly, it's going to look like this. Low position, middle, high. A bit quicker. So now I'll solo again over the A minor track using all 3 positions and just see how effortless it becomes to move around the guitar. Then after that, I'll show you how this works in a major key. So I promised this would also work for major keys, and here's how. With the blues, one of the classic characteristic sounds is blending minor melodies over major chords. So put quite simply, we can play basically the same minor licks over a major chord progression. So these A minor blues scale licks over an A major chord progression, and that would sound something like this. One thing just to focus on here is this little bend we've been playing on the minor 3rd. This is really important to make this work over a major chord progression, and you can afford to bend it up a little bit further over a major chord. So now I'll solo over a typical 12-bar shuffle in A major, and just notice how this A minor blues scale still sounds great. So there you have it, a simple but super effective way to play the blues. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.